You eventually come across here and you're competing in solo piping seriously. What you do in the games and the indoor competitions, a whole lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I moved over in '97. I won the marches in the Northern Meeting in '93, so I was in the former winners at the Northern Meetings from '94 on. Yeah.
What was your last prize, out of curiosity?
My last prize, well,
solo pipe
this year,
prize.
this year I was piping for dancing at Pitlochry, and I got a second, a third, and I believe a fourth.
So
and won the overall at Luss.
That's just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, winning the Pibrick and the marches, and I was second in Pipers'Persuasion reels, and I was piping for dancing then. Got a couple of prizes at Inverary. I was piping for dancing then, and so most of the time that I go out and I do compete, I'm already there piping for dancing, which
that's hard work now.
Oh, yes, it is. Yeah,
it's really hard work because
yes, it is.
It's a hard day's work playing for highland dancing. They compete in solo piping on top of that.
Yeah, one of the things I'm really
two different instruments for that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think you need to.
One of the things I'm really proud of is winning the overall at the Cowell Highland Gathering and also piping for dancing on the same day. You know, so
who was that with? The pipe band, I mean.
No. I'm talking the overall solo prize. Yeah.
Okay.
The dancing's held. You've got the world finals on the Saturday, and then the qualifiers are on the Friday and Thursday. And so the Friday I was piping for dancing and then off competing, and so I won the overall there, as well as piping for I think there was maybe 600 dancers entered. So yeah, so I'm proud of that fact. And when I first came over, I was actively involved in going around all the games and at the Highlands and Islands. I won the March Spay Reel there twice, and against your Roddies and your Willies and your Gordons and that kind of a thing, and won the former winners at the Scottish Pipers Association once, and so and prizes and all that kind of stuff, and most of the games around Scotland won the overall or won trophies at it or stuff. My name's on the hardware at most of these places, you know. So
very enjoyable for you too.
Oh yeah. I mean, I always enjoyed competing, always going around, and enjoyed going to the Highland Games, but now, unfortunately or fortunately, whichever the way that you look at it, not a lot of pipers for dancing out there, so I get asked to pipe for dancing a lot, and so if I get the opportunity to compete, then I do. Balloch,
yes.
Just as far as this year goes, played in the light music.
Mm-hmm.
I think I got a couple of prizes there, but I wasn't able to play in the Pibrick because it wasn't conducive as far as for the dancing goes. So you need more than 20 minutes just to compete your tune. You need to set up your other bagpipe. You need to get a wee bit of stuff like that. So it takes more than just the 20-minute window of playing the tune. So I've been doing it there a lot, and you realize if you can do it or if you can't do it, and if you can't do it, you go and you let the judges know, listen guys, I can't work it out today in order to pipe for with the piping for the dancing. But games like Inverary, I asked them if I could play first in the Pibrick, which their Pibrick starts at 9 o'clock, the dancing starts at 9:15, so I'm able to do both. I'm able to do both. Yeah. They're very accommodating for it, and then in the afternoon in the light music, Torkel's been the guy that's basically the steward there, and he lets me know as far as a window goes where I can go over there and compete.
Takes me later on Inverary, I think it was 2:30 o'clock, the open Pipers'Persuasion Mules at Inverary this year.
Yeah.
So most of your Highland dancing playing would have been completed by that time?
No,
Not really, no.
you're completed probably about 4 or 4:30.
Are you?
Yeah, it
So
runs
you're
quite
just
late.
nip and tuck all the time?
Absolutely, it's a you're always very respectful of your fellow competitors. You don't want to have them hanging about or doing whatever. I don't work it to where I always play last or something else like this. If I can play before my allotted time or near my allotted time, I do. And Torko's great about it. And I generally go over there, and then Torko goes, well, I can slot you in the next two.
Good.
And so one competitor will go and play, and then another one will play, and then I'll play. And so he basically has it worked out as far as it goes like that. And
have you seen yourself blowing your solo piping instrument in by playing for a few Highland dances with that instrument?
Well, not dances, but maybe a couple of groupings of dancers. Yeah, absolutely.
Aye.
That's what you do. You put it in. You change your drone reeds.
Yeah.
You start doing that. You warm up the pipe by maybe playing for the last 12 dancers.
Yeah.
That are in that group, and then once that's done,
going.
Once that's done, then the other piper for dancing takes over and plays the next dance.
Okay.
Which gives you, depending on the size of the group, anywhere from 20 to 35 minutes. So then you pop over and you walk over there. And
so you're doing a shift with two pipers for Highland dancing.
Yeah. There's almost always two, at least two.
So how long do you play for? Roughly 30-35 minutes, did you say?
Roughly. This year at the World Championships, we had quite big sections, and I think the longest blow was an hour and 10 minutes.
Jeez.
Yeah.
How do you go on with constant repetition of the same tune?
Well, you've been doing it in a number of years, and
I found that was just impossible. By the time you played the same tune 6 or 7 times, you started to go off it completely.
Well, and a very difficult tune, Gilly Column as well, and you've just been doing it in a number of years, and trust me, Alan, there's some times where you put it on automatic pilot, and automatic pilot isn't what it is. Isn't what it was back when you were in your 20s. So you're sitting there going, is this the third step or the second step or this or that? But you get to know the dances and the steps and what they do and basically where they're at, and so.
That's an advantage of having a good lady who's a Highland dancer down there.
And my 2 sisters, absolutely, yeah.
And so you appreciate what the dancers are trying to do because you're more intimate knowledge of what the dancers and the dances are than your average piper who's playing for Highland dancing. If there was such a thing as an average piper playing for Highland dancing,
If I can say this, I'm very grateful of the fact that coming home from a dancing competition, Christine would be in the car and she says, why do you do that in that part? Okay, and it might be where there's runs involved, da-ba-da, 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 da-ba-dee, da-ba-dum, da-ba-dum, bro, something like that, or whatever, doing whatever. Why do you do that? Why do you do that at that bit? And you go, well, because it's written in the music. Well, that really doesn't suit that particular step. And I go, oh right, what would suit that step better would be what you play in the second step. Can you play the second step? And I go, well, no, the first step and the second step would be one straspe, but rhythmically I can pick another straspe that would be conducive to that. And the steps change like the Pipers'Persuasion change every year.
Okay.
And they're in the dancing. So the one advantage that I have, or whatever, or that the dancers have, is that Christine tells me, no, this suits this and that suits that, and all that kind of thing.
Picking the tunes to suit the new steps.
Yeah, well, yeah. The steps that have been chosen as far as that year goes, they're not necessarily new steps. They're just steps that weren't danced last year or the year before, or stuff like this, just to kind of change the variety of whatever's going on there. Much the same as the Pipers'Persuasion.
It's almost like Brett and piping. They've got play different tunes depending on the area and all the rest of it. There's a change every year.
Yeah.
And I suppose that's very good because it rejigs the whole thing. It's not the same put to every year, which gets boring. And it's advantageous to one style of dancer. Everybody's got to muck in and learn the latest stuff, and keeps refreshing.
Well, one of the things on my latest Piping for Dancing CD, my wife said to me, just play a track with just Strathspeys, so that when she's working on Strathspey movements, or whether it be you use the Strathspey in a number of dances, where I can just put that on and it can play Strathspeys, and then write 1, 2, 3, 4, and then they do the dances. So I've got a track on my CD that I think is 10 minutes and 26 seconds of just wee two-parted Strathspeys. So yeah, and it's great when you're doing a recital, because you've got all that in your harness to go. So you do one in one half, one in the other half, and then, so yeah, it's great as far as that goes.
Are you constantly searching out Strathspeys and old music, new music, nothing else? Because there's not that many Strathspeys are composed in comparison to hornpipes, jigs, etc., etc.
Absolutely, I Alan, man, you hit the nail on the head, and thank you very much. I've always, due to Christine and her success in the dance, and I've always wanted to compose a Strathspey for Christine, and it's one of the most difficult idioms in order to compose in. And married 21 years, and still haven't composed a Strathspey for her. So it's I'm glad you said that. I'm glad. So it's just really hard to write one, honey. You know.
Absolutely.
So yeah. So but the last 3 years I've been teaching I've been teaching a course at the Royal Conservatoire. The piping students that are there.
Yeah.
They do a 10-hour course where I teach them the pipe for dancing, basically introductions and tunes and stuff like that, and a lot of the older type Strathspeys I find have a lot of runs in it.
Yes.
You know, and not, I don't want to say runs aren't conducive to Highland dance, and I don't want to make that blanket statement. However, more conducive to a Scottish snap, where the runs you could be nippy about them, that kind of a thing. Just
so the emphasis is in the last note of the triple rather than even a playing of the run.
That's it. That's what I call a Strathspey of movement, and that's a Strathspey that's great for the Strathspey and Highland reel, where they're moving and doing figure eights and that kind of a thing. Whereas the Strathspey of lift, that's bouncing in one place. So there are Strathspeys that I consider Strathspeys of bounce and Strathspeys of movement and that kind of a thing. And so the older type Strathspeys seem to have a lot more runs in it, and runs are I don't want to say I tend to avoid Strathspeys with runs in them, because you get some of your judges that go, you're a wee bit nippy with those runs, or you're too open with those runs. It's really kind of something where a judge could hang its hat on and go, oh no, I didn't like the way you handled the runs, or that. I just feel that the dancers deserve the best piping that can be played for. I wish that the younger guys would become more involved in piping for dancing, but they haven't reached that stage yet. But hopefully they will, or hopefully I'll come across a sister or brother of a dancer that wants to do it, and would get as much enjoyment out of it as whatever. Alan, it's taken me all around the world. It's enabled me to travel all around the United States and all around this country, and I mean, I've been flown to New Zealand in order to pipe for dancing, and I'll be piping at a dancing championship next month in South Africa.
Yeah.
And so it's enabled me to travel the world, and like I said, I would like to think that I would have met Christine even though I wasn't piping for dancing, but I don't know how that would have happened. So it really has a close place in my heart as far as to do that.